Nikki Berry has released her highly anticipated new single, Grace and Mercy. This energizing song of praise will pick you up every time you hear it. Nikki brings dynamic vocals in this message of inspiration while shining a light on God's amazing grace and mercy. Her thought-provoking lyrics brings you to a place of pure gratefulness. Grace and Mercy is available on all digital platforms, so download it and add it to your playlist today. You can also watch the new music video on the Nikki Berry Music YouTube channel.
Grace is sufficient, oh yes, covers me in the middle of my mess. Even in the midst of a storm, only you can comfort with your loving arms, the kind of grace that lasts always.
Welcome to My Journey with Paula G, where we juggle this journey called life while walking in the gifts and talents that God has given us. And we are so glad that you have joined us for yet another episode right here from Atlanta, Georgia. And we are taping these episodes in front of a live studio audience. And we thank each and every one of our studio audience members for joining us for this episode. Well, as you know, I always start each and every episode with an encouraging word from one of our viewers. And this one actually comes from one of our past guests. And her name is Shay Sarah. And Shay says, "Don't get weary in well-doing. In due season, you will reap a harvest if you faint not." Never give up. Never give up. Never, never, never give up. And the manifestation of what you're laboring for is given. And that is from Shay Sarah. Never, ever give up. And whatever it is that God has placed inside of you, it is a journey. I'm a witness. It is a journey. But never give up, because when you take that leap, as I've shared with you all before, the net will appear. You will land right where it is that He's purposed you to be. With us today is this young lady. She's looking absolutely fabulous today. She's an author. She's a poet. She's a publisher. She is a philanthropist, and she is here to share her journey with us. She is Nicole Sherrill.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for being here. I know it has truly been a journey for you to be here with us on the stage with us, so we really appreciate your sacrifice and your willingness to step out and pursue what it is that He has caused you to pursue. So share with us a bit of your journey with the Lord. Describe your journey with the Lord.
I like to basically summarize my journey as the story of running. I spent many years not being obedient and not saying yes. In my defiance, I was in the world, in clubs, all the time, but on the inside I was hurting. And it was not until I said no to the world and yes to the Lord that all of that changed. And my life began to have peace. I began to not be afraid to do what I was being called to do, to go out, to teach His people, reach His people, share His word. And that's where I draw my strength and my courage, because I know it is purpose. I know it is destined, because all of the old things fell away.
Yes.
So,
and it was a journey just to get there as well.
Yeah.
It's a journey to get there. Talk to us about the power of the tongue. We often hear about the power of the tongue and how,
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
So I actually wrote a devotional, and it's called Awake, Speak Life, and it's 21 days of intentional steps, scripture focus, affirmations, talking to yourself in a mirror, understanding that life and death is really in the tongue. We spend years listening to people who say things that are negative, and we have to understand that all the things that are negative are lies. God has already said who you are. He has said you are the head, which means that you are the leader. He has said you are rich. He has said you are strong, courageous. Those things that He has said about us, we need to believe them because they are truth, because He is not a liar and His words will never return to Him void. So we can take courage in those things and begin saying those things over ourselves and speaking life into what we want to see. So I literally just, I wake up in the morning, Lord, I love you. I love myself. I forgive me. I forgive myself, and I am going to do this, A, B, C, whatever it is, and that's how I start my day.
And you know, it's so important, the power of words as we're, you know, you've been on your journey, and I've been on my journey as well, and a lot of guests that have shared, you know, this platform. When we start speaking positive affirmations over ourselves, and we, you know, start speaking, you know, those positive scenarios into us, it really is work. It is work. Our previous guest was sharing that with us. It really is work, because we're so used to the negative. We wake up in the morning, oh, I'm tired, my head hurt, I don't feel what we keep saying that all day long. We don't realize we're speaking that stuff, even though we might feel that way initially in the morning, but it stays with us, because we continue to speak with it, to speak it, as opposed to say, you know what, I'm waking up right now with a bit of a headache, but I'm thankful that I woke up, and I'm going to continue to do what it is that I need to do on this day, you know, and do it to the best of my ability. And, you know, if we start practicing that kind of thing and turning that conversation around, like you said, the power of tongue is powerful.
It is.
It is indeed. It is indeed, you know, it is indeed powerful. So, you know, in your course of, you know, these conversations that you're having with yourself, and these positive conversations with yourself, what have been some revelations for you? Have there been any particular revelations for you? What have been some?
I realize that it is definitely work, but it is also necessary to realize when someone else is actually contributing by speaking those negative things into your life. So it could be, you know, a relative, a close relative. It's usually somebody really close to you that you will actually care what they say.
Right. Those words can really sink in.
So you have to basically rebuke the statements out loud. So if they're speaking something unfavorable in your life, you have to stop them and say, no, I'm going to succeed. No, that is not true for my life. No. So that was the revelation. I realized that for many years there have been people that helped me to get to this point. And although I love them, I cannot allow their negativity to change the future of my destiny, because I have work to do. So.
Right, and that's huge for anyone. You know, we have these people in our life, we love them, and sometimes they mean well, but the words that they speak are not necessarily uplifting and building. So a lot of times we have to combat that, you know, that conversation. You know, because there are certain people that are in our lives, and we can remove them from our lives, but then there are other people that, you know, you stuck with them. You stuck with them. You can't. You know, so you have to begin to kind of shift that, you know, that conversation, you know, that is in your head. Talk to us a bit about true love and salvation.
So true love is, I wrote this piece on a Christmas day that is called The Gift. And basically what it is an explanation of what love is, also how you can obtain love and how love treats you. So the story is actually the story of Christ and salvation, which is true love, which is a love that will never hurt you, leave you, that, you know, will nourish and make sure that you are provided for, has basically gave his all so that you can live and be reconciled back to God. So that is the story, and it's a story of salvation, but it's also a story of evangelism, because after you know what the requirements are, now how do you use your gifts to share that word with everyone else? So that is the ultimate.
The ultimate in true love. You know, how, you know, you are an author, you're a poet, you're a publisher, you're a philanthropist. Speak to us a little bit about your philanthropy.
I founded a nonprofit in 2018 because I realized that along with me reaching people and trying to teach people, I need to be able to help people have a voice. The word says to actually go out, and it lists the, you know, the cities of old, but basically in all the world, and how we're going to do that. We can do that by social media, and you know there are dangers with social media. But however, we can also try to empower the people. So we have a scholarship, for example, for the youth that we give out. This will be the second one. Submissions will be taken the month of December, and then it's based on them writing, story. Actually, it's going to be parables.
So the young people will be writing.
So that they can have a voice, and then you can also teach them to build streams of revenue themselves, but also what are you going to do with this gift that you have to share? And then also another part of it is domestic violence and providing a safe haven package for the women or whoever is fleeing. And then people that are in the prison system, giving them books to read, reaching them, because we all can be forgiven. There is no sin that we can't be forgiven for, so we all have sinned and fall short. So as long as we repent, then hey.
We all can.
That's right.
Yes. We're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
When we come back, we will finish this conversation. This is My Journey with Paula G.
Grace is sufficient, oh yes, covers me in the middle of my mess. Even in the midst of a storm, only you can comfort with your loving arms. The kind of grace that lasts always, gives peace that surpasses my understanding. Make it without your grace. I'm talking about your grace. New mercies at the start of my day, follows me as I travel along the way. I just love how you're always there, saving me from myself. Over and over again, you're the same yesterday and today. Talking about your grace. I won't make it without your grace. And mercy, your grace follows me. Your grace and mercy, your amazing grace, it follows me. Where would I be without your grace? Oh, it was your grace and mercy that kept me this far. Oh, it follows me, and I never would have made it without your grace and mercy. It follows me, I can't make it without your grace. I won't make it without your grace.
Welcome back to My Journey with Paula G, where we juggle this journey called life while walking in the gifts and talents that God has given us. And we are here with my guest, Nicole Sherrill. She was sharing with us a bit about her journey and the impact of the power of the tongue. Earlier, she shared with us a bit about true love and salvation. And now I want you to share a little bit with us as you continue this journey. What are some of the things that you see in the future for Nicole?
Some of the things, a current project, my nephew who is 10 just released his first poetry book. And
At 10 years old?
At 10
Oh,
years
come
old,
on now.
wrote the manuscript, and I published that book for him. So I see that as a tool for the youth. I want to be able to contribute that way for free. One of the things that we offer to the scholarship, the people that apply the applications, is they all can have a manuscript published for free.
Yeah.
So those are events that are coming up. We are always going out and speaking and sharing, so we're happy about that. And then we mentioned the scholarship that is coming up this December, which we will give out some money. And then also there is a domestic violence safe haven kit that is actually published free on our website that we're going to put in a brochure and a booklet to actually help those that need to be helped.
Right. Now you mentioned publishing. You're an author as well as a publisher. So share with us what those two hats. Describe a little bit about those two hats and how that unfolds.
I think I found, because I was writing so much, I go through seasons where I may write, for example, early in the year, probably about 4 or 5 books. Not all of them are published right away, but so many till I had to actually say, hey, I could do this myself, right? So I put in the work to study to find out formatting and all of those things, copywriting and all of those things, so that I also can provide that service. And then that way I actually own the rights, all the rights
That's
to
huge.
the book.
Oh, yes.
So I'm big on that. When I go out in the community and we talk to musicians, whatever, I ask them, hey, who owns your music? Who owns your story? Because if someone else is publishing my words, then they can change my words, and it's important that my words stay the same.
I think we saw a lot of that back in the even before, but even the 60s, the 70s, a lot of that with a lot of the artists.
Right.
Someone else publishing their work and them not having the rights, you know, and we have this vision of these people, you know, living well and prospering, and most of them do not, because they don't own their, and that's so hard. You don't own your own work. You know, that's your passion, and you know, and somebody else owns it. So yeah, that's a lesson right there.
That is a lesson. That's huge.
Yes. Get your own copyright.
That's huge.
Own your stuff. Yes, that is so huge. And your poetry, share with us a bit about your poetry. How does that come to life for you?
Ooh, so with the poetry, I found that there's a totally different group that I need to try to reach. And some people will, you know, they will want to read like a story, you know, a fiction about Celia, for example. But there are certain situations that calls for something quick, that makes you think, but it will get the message across that you may be able to share in an open mic. So we go out a lot in the community and share poetry in open mic settings, because I find it easier to communicate, reach people, and to network and to help build, to find out who may need some help, and kind of network and help build up other people. So that's basically that too. It's kind of quick, and I like poetry. I love Maya Angelou. So you know, it all. I'm always writing. So
you know, we had a guest earlier that was talking about a book that she had reluctantly written, and she was talking about being awakened in the middle of the night and having to write things down. You know, and I've often heard that with whether it's an artist or a poet or a playwright, where you know you're awakened in the middle of the night and you have this vision, this idea, these words come to you, and that's why it's so important to either keep your phone by you or keep a pad and paper, pencil, because when you wake up in the middle of the night and and God places those ideas, you got to get them down, because then you wake up in the morning and you're like, wow, that was a wonderful idea.
Right.
What was it?
Right.
Because you can't remember what it is, what it was.
And it's funny that you say that, because I go through seasons where all I hear is write, and it's usually between January and May. And so I just all the time I'm writing. And I try not to put everything out at one time, but that is my season where I wake up, I barely get sleep, and I'm just writing all the time.
So it's almost 6 months where those thoughts are just being poured out.
At one time.
time.
Story after story after story.
And then I think it's important what you said, you have to pace yourself afterwards. You don't want to just put it all out at one time.
Right.
You pace it, because there's a season for that as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Because, and I think that's something we need to be in tune to, when we've got these things that are placed inside of us, and like you said, you write. And then you have to wait, because there's a season for all of it.
Yes. For the teaching and
Yes,
the lesson.
yes. So the right ears, you need to be aligned with the right ears
Right.
for them to hear what it is that needs to be heard.
Yes.
Yes.
One of the other things I forgot, but I do want to mention that there's a young lady writing, she's turning 3 of the books into movies. So she's currently working on that now. So and those books actually are for the youth, with all the dangers, and then also a lesson, scripture that they can learn, but also a life lesson change that brings them back to Christ. So she's working on that. So I'm excited about that, because I'm excited about that.
Yes. Share with the audience how they can stay connected with Nicole.
I am on all social media outlets, Facebook, Nicole Sherrill, Instagram, Nicole.Sherrill, Twitter, Nicole Sherrill, Periscope, Pinterest, everything. Recently, Bigo Live, Nicole Sherrill. And then my website is NicoleSherrill.xyz. Email NicoleSherrill@yahoo.com. So
Keep it simple, just your name.
It's the same, yes. It's less
Keep it
work.
the same, yes.
Yes.
Keep it the same. Thank you so much for sharing that. And the thing that I love about this show is all of the guests, are people from all walks of life who come to this platform. They come from different parts of the country who come to this platform to share, what it is that has been placed inside of them. And it's not an easy journey, as you have mentioned, and for all of our guests, they've mentioned that it is not an easy journey when you're stepping out on what it is that you feel that you've been called to do. It can be very frightening. You step out on it. You have self-doubt, can I do this? What if nobody believes in me? What if I fail? But you've got to take that leap of faith, especially when it's been placed inside of you. You've got to take that leap of faith, step out into whatever it is, realize, accept, and know that it's okay to make mistakes along that journey, because you are going to make some mistakes along that journey. You're going to make mistakes. But you learn from the mistakes, and I'm sure you've had that occur too, as all of these things have unfolded. That you're going to make mistakes, but do not be afraid to make mistakes, because that's part of that whole
journey.
Yes, that's part of that whole process. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Learn from the mistakes and continue the journey, because if you continue that journey and continue walking that path, it gets lonely sometimes, it gets frightening sometimes, you get discouraged sometimes, but you've got to keep waking up and taking that step after step after step, because eventually, as I shared with you all before, you will land right where it is that God has purposed you to be. So stay encouraged and be encouraged. We thank you so much for joining us here on My Journey with Paula G. And remember, the greatest conversation that you will ever have is the one that takes place in between your ears. What are you speaking to yourself? What is your I am? Is God a part of that conversation? And are you listening to his still, small voice? Until next time, embrace the journey.
Don't ever and ever be worried of the things you can't control. If you see it coming, let it come. The fight is not yours. All you got to do is to build up your strength in union with the Lord and by means of His mighty power.
You've been feeling broken down. The trouble's coming down on you. It's been coming, knocking you down, 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 down. I wanna tell you there's a God for you. He's coming to raise you up right now. The problems, the troubles will all be solved right now. I know you've been passing through these trials, the forest that hard for you. But I wanna tell you, I wanna tell you, it's gonna be good for you. He promised that when the sun goes down, He'll be there for you. Through the valley of death, through sound of fear. When confusion surrounds you, such strong is God to back in the forest.